A nuclear strike. For decades, that's been the ultimate red line in any global conflict. But what happens when that line starts to get a little blurry? Right now, a whole series of events are unfolding that force us to ask a really terrifying question.
And look, this isn't just some wild speculation. This is the alarming question right at the heart of what's been happening in the Middle East. And it's all being fueled by a really shocking claim from someone inside the world of international diplomacy.
So this is the warning we're getting from Mohamad Safa, a diplomat who just walked away from his job in protest. He says he's trying to stop a catastrophe. But to really get why he would risk his entire career to sound this alarm, we've got to look at what just happened on the ground.
Right, so the backdrop for this bombshell claim, it's not some shadowy secret meeting. Nope, it's a massive military strike, carried out for everyone to see, on one of Iran's most strategically important cities.
And make no mistake, this wasn't just some symbolic tap on the wrist. This was a deliberate, coordinated attack on Isfahan, a city that's basically the nerve center for Iran's nuclear and military ambitions. And the weapon they chose? Well, that tells you everything you need to know about their objective.
We're talking about a 2,000-pound bomb. To give you some perspective, that's almost 900 kilograms of pure high explosives. But it's not just the size that's a big deal here. It's the type of bomb. This was a bunker buster.
Okay, so what is a bunker buster, and why does it matter so much? It's basically engineered for one job, to get through incredibly fortified targets, stuff that's buried deep underground, and then explode. Think of it like a master key for a fortress, built to bypass all the defenses and hit the target where it really hurts. And this is where it all starts to click into place. This weapon is the go-to choice for taking out hardened nuclear sites. It was delivered by advanced stealth bombers that can slip right past modern radar systems. I mean, using this combination signals an incredibly sophisticated operation. It means you have amazing intelligence and you can hit your target with pinpoint accuracy. This wasn't a warning shot. This was a message.
Okay, that brings up the big question, right? Of all the places in Iran, why hit Isfahan? Why that specific city?
Well, the reason is simple. Isfahan isn't just any city. It holds a unique and absolutely central place in Iran's entire strategic game plan. You really can't overstate how important it is.
First off, you've got the nuclear stuff. Isfahan has the uranium conversion facility, which is the critical first step for processing uranium. Then you've got the whole military-industrial complex. It's a massive hub for making missiles and advanced drones. And finally, there's just its location. It's a central logistics point, and it's so important that it's protected by some of the most advanced air defenses in the entire country.
So when you hit Isfahan, you're not just nipping at the edges. You're taking a direct shot at what you could call Iran's nuclear backbone. You're trying to paralyze the whole system right from its core.
Okay, so now that we get just how serious that attack was, let's circle back to the guy who sounded the alarm. The diplomat who says this strike is just the opening act for something way more terrifying. All right, so let's be super clear about who this guy Mohamad Safa is. He's not a top UN official making policy. He represents a non-governmental organization that has consultative status, which basically means he's in the room for high-level briefings and conversations. He's been an observer in that world for over a decade. And what he's alleging is frankly terrifying. He's saying there are serious discussions happening right now about a nuclear strike, and this is being driven by the idea that conventional attacks just haven't worked. He's also calling out the UN for failing to de-escalate the crisis. He says his resignation is his last resort, a moral stand against what he calls a potential crime against humanity. So you've got this massive military escalation on one side and this chilling warning from an insider on the other. It all boils down to the ultimate question: how for real is this threat? How credible is it really? On the one hand, the arguments against it seem pretty obvious, right? You'd have a huge global backlash, it's a massive violation of international law, it would totally isolate the US and its allies, and of course, it would be a humanitarian catastrophe. But, and this is a huge but, the rationale for even thinking about it has its own grim logic. There's this feeling that conventional strikes aren't getting the job done, that the goal might be shifting from just containing Iran to actual regime change, and that this might be seen as the only final way to stop Iran's nuclear program for good.
And if you just look at the timeline, you can see a clear pattern emerging here. What started years ago as these small, maybe even deniable strikes has blown up into a full-on conflict. We saw retaliation from Iran, then we saw shipping get disrupted, and now we're seeing a direct, high-intensity attack on the heart of Iran's program. The trend is only pointing in one direction: up.
You know, the idea of actually using a nuclear weapon, it probably seems completely unthinkable to most of us. But here's the thing. When you see this kind of escalation, this shift from a shadow war to direct, intense attacks, well, you're heading into some really dangerous, uncharted territory. A place where the unthinkable suddenly has to be considered.
The trend is crystal clear. The warnings are out there. So the big question now, for everyone, is what happens next? And in a fight that seems to have no off-ramp, what happens at the unthinkable starts to look inevitable.